And so the beauty of having patient-led groups come together and think about how we can try to tackle this with perhaps a different perspective in terms of what would really be a meaningful outcome for those living today with neurodevelopmental chromosome disorders. And we had to kind of put together a mission and a grander vision of how we can advance this field of innovation and tools and technologies to think about a neurodevelopmental focus on these complex CNVs that are large megabase sizes potentially. And how do we do this with a team science approach where we're sharing and exchanging prelim data perhaps and negative results and things that could really help inform priorities and actually be much more capital efficient and scalable. And therefore next slide, Vanessa. Thanks, or Isa. And therefore we kind of came together and thought about what can we really do in terms of long-term goals. And as a group, we agreed that we first need to accelerate research and identify what's existing and novel methods that don't exist today but need to be funded and improvised on. And how do we provide strategic direction and support in the scientific community and the clinical community or across CNVs? How do we enhance the relationship between researchers and the actual patients and families that are impacted internationally, across borders? To think about how the commission as a collective can serve as an umbrella for many different neurological chromosome disorders and a destination for the actual data sharing and research that we can collect together. And then how do we maximize this political awareness and financial capital and actually target key stakeholders and decision makers? But of course, we had to think about what can we achieve in the next 12 to 18 months with many key opinion leaders that came together, over 75 initially, across US, Canada, and even those across the pond in Europe, to think about fostering team science on proposals and how do we access funding. And so we actually did do some of this work. And we created a neurogenetics data platform and biorepository that Vanessa will talk to you more in detail about, that is interoperable across all the different stakeholders that can leverage this, and a diverse data set. And also thinking about how do you bridge the gaps in knowledge and resources. And so how do we do that through oral and written presentations? And we actually did, what we did was we came together and we created an inventory, frankly, of extensive interviews across all the different key opinion leaders, whether they were in neuroscience, whether they were translational, the industry perspective, the in silico and bioinformatics team, advanced genomics, and last but not least, the patient leaders, the ones that were representing those that were affected in the community. And we organized ourselves, and many of the commission members dedicated their time across more than one working group. And we set them in vitro, animal models for CNVs, phenotyping, and that's clinical and models, genomics and bioinformatics, and again, the community engagement piece to achieve those short-term and long-term goals. And then we thought through, how do we actually have a deliverable? What is the output of all of these conversations and brilliant discussions? What's missing? What are those gaps? What are the challenges and hurdles? And so we came together again and thought about summarizing the current state and the desired future state. Again, what protocols are quality protocols for even just from reprogramming to differentiating into the right cell types? Are animal models embryonically lethal or not? And we, over 18 months, came together and achieved many milestones, from just kicking off a working group in December 2020. We held bi-weekly meetings and had a very active participation with very specific agendas and what we wanted to take out from every meeting and across every quarter. And in March 3rd, we hosted a virtual collective impact conference. We had the head of NCATS then speak as our keynote, and we reported out from every working group and had them present about 3 to 5 different ideas that each of those working groups could actually do if they had access to data across different neurological chromosome disorders. We had a hybrid conference across our 3 disease groups with children that are affected, young adults, adults that are affected by the diseases, and invited all the researchers in person, had virtual access, and had actually an active writing workshop to produce a roadmap that could be published. The amazing part of this was that our scientists and clinicians were meeting those affected and understanding what was important and actually looking at the resemblance just from a distance of how these children look alike, how these young adults might be developing and the similarities clinically. And in January 2022, we actually launched a neurogenetics multidisciplinary clinic, which Issa will talk to you more about, at Children's Hospital of Colorado, with the intent that we could have that model in many different locations, including perhaps the SickKids. And then we were able to negotiate with Illumina, who generously sponsored an amazing partnership to do advanced sequencing on our biorepository and samples for over 100 families across different chromosome groups. And the future is to continue supporting this. And we'd like to also share the paper that we actually published as this roadmap, which was published and accepted by the American Journal of Human Genetics to think about neurodevelopmental CNVs across 33 authors in the commission that work together to think about this roadmap of improving outcomes, uniting patient advocates, researchers, and clinicians. And so you're more than welcome to take a look at that as well.